Fox Sports.
When Nissan first...
We would like to welcome those of you, by the way, who did watch Game 2, the Yankees beating the Mets 6-5, that over on Fox. And in the meantime, Bobby Valentine, he's got a tough chore now. He heads back to Shea for Games 3, 4, and 5. He is down 0-2. Here's the Mets skipper speaking live in the Bronx.
Clemens have been ejected for throwing the bat at Piazza.
It's a good start. I wish I saw it. I did not see it, and I heard about it. I was looking for the ball. So I saw the swing. I didn't see the ball. I thought it was over third baseman or first baseman's head. Next thing I knew, everyone was running out of the dugout.
Another question for Bobby here.
Bobby, are you saying if you had saw it, you might have talked to the umpires about an injection?
Well, what is it? My guys thought he threw it in the direction. Did he throw it at Mike?
Certainly looked.
It looked like he threw at Mike? Well, yeah, I certainly would have had to say something if he threw it at Mike.
Over here on the side.
Bobby, the thought process on sticking with Abbott there in the bottom of the ninth, the top of the ninth?
He just hit a ball off the wall last night. Our right-handers hit him very good that inning. And I had Bubba ready to hit on deck.
Steve?
And this is now hypothetical because of your answer, but if you had seen that play and the umpires with the bat and the umpires did nothing about it, could you have called Piazza back from the plate and said, I'm not going to let my man hit unless you do something about that pitcher?
Wow.
It's a World Series game.
We had a meeting with all the umpires and the commissioner of the league and all both general managers before the series started, and we were asked to allow the umpires to use their good judgment in all plays that concern their judgment. And like I say, I was running out, and I wasn't even running out on the field. I was asking what happened, and whenever it's my screw up, I guess, if I should have protested the game or something. Like I said, I still don't know where the ball went.
Very disappointed Bobby Valentine, and we would like to thank all of you who just hopped over from Fox, the mothership, over to Fox Sports Net. 6-5, the Yankees a winner, so they are now halfway to their three-peat.
Yeah, meanwhile, let's take a look back at Game 2 of the World Series. And Roger Clemens getting the start, ready to roll. Meanwhile, Mike Piazza arriving. There's Roger. Let's pick it up on top of the first. And Clemens, right off the bat, Steve Sachs was flowing. I mean, he came out throwing heat.
That's right. And first of all, Timo Perez gets in a hole by taking the first pitch, and then here he drops that split-finger fastball on Alfonso. Tremendous pitch.
Third batter, Mike Piazza. It's a foul ball. Clemens grabs the piece of broken bat and throws it in Piazza's direction.
I'll tell you, Bobby Valentine said he didn't see this. Essentially, if he was throwing it at Mike Piazza, he should have been ejected right there.
Do you think he was throwing it at Mike Piazza?
Yeah, I think it was a reaction. I think he just tried to throw it in the area, like get this thing out of here. And I think he was caught up in the moment. It looks like he was halfway trying to throw it over there. Whether he's trying to spear him with it, I don't think so. You see the bat went into the ground.
Once everyone came out and they looked at each other, they did a dance, and then baseball was restored. There's Clemens, and he finally gets Piazza to ground out to second, and then Clemens actually says, it was my fault, my bad, so maybe he didn't mean any harm. Meanwhile, Mike Hampton in trouble, bottom of the first with 2 on. Tino Martinez singles off Hampton, scoring Dave Justice. Tino starts the Yankees off. It's 1-0. Next batter, Jorge Posada.
Oh, yeah, Jorge Posada just rifles this one right back up the middle. Now, actually, Jorge Posada not quite as good from the right side of the plate, but Mike Hampton did not have his stuff tonight, Kevin.
2-0 at that point. Top of the second, still 2-0. Scott Brocious, and that's a home alone shot.
This guy seems like he just shows up at World Series time. During the season, he saw it at third base, but he just comes up big in World series play.
3-0 at that point. 3 batters later, 1 on, and Derek Jeter does the damage, and Timo Perez killing his team.
He's a little bit too excited right there. As you know, this play should have been easily made. Knobloch should have not have been thrown out at home plate. He should have been held at third base, no question about it.
Knobloch furious. Still the Yankees up 3-0, and they keep coming. Next batter, Dave Justice with the grounder, but how about Edgardo Alfonso?
Talk about a guy that's underrated. This guy's got a sweet glove, and everybody knows what he does for the bat, but defensively, he's outstanding.
Speaking of great defense, top of the 6th, 1 on. Mike Piazza back at the plate to face Roger Clemens. This time, the only play is made by Dave Justice. Great catch.
And this is a lot of anticipation. Who would play left field? David Justice, clearly the best all defensively that he has on this ball club.
9 strikeouts for Clemens. Meanwhile, I guess in 3,000 they'll win it. Top of the 9th, 1 on, 6-0 Yanks. Piazza with a deep shot to left off Jeff Nelson. It hits the foul pole. Here come the Mets.
You know, Mike Piazza's been hitting the ball good all series long. The great play that Justice made earlier off Roger Clemens on the line drive.
2 batters later, does Todd Zeal hit one? No. Great catch by Clay Bellinger. Bobby Valentine can't believe it. 3 batters later, 2 on, Mets coming back. Jay Payton lights up Rivera.
I'll tell you, this is a pitch that pretty much flattened out. This is not a normal Rivera type of a slider. It was a straight fastball. Again, you got to wonder about the cold weather.
6-5 Yankees, but then Rivera gets Kurt Abbott looking to end the game. Abbott arguing, but the game is over. Rivera and the Yanks hold on, and they barely hold on.
He got away with the pitch there. That was a backup slider that he didn't mean to throw. It caught the plate, though.
6-5, the final score. Yankees have won a record 14 straight World Series games. And how about Roger Clemens? He has given up no runs and 3 hits in his last 17 2/3 innings pitched. For more, let's head out to the Bronx, where Keith Olbermann and the rest of our crew are standing by.
What was a dramatic shutout, overwhelmed somewhat by another incident involving both Mike Piazza and Roger Clemens, turned into a dramatic 9th inning, and the New York Yankees escaped from Yankee Stadium with their lives. Swing and a miss. The point was, he's thrown a ball near him, he's thrown a bat near him. If he throws a glove near him, Roger Clemens will have gotten the trifecta with Mike Piazza. Good evening from Yankee Stadium alongside Kevin Kennedy and Steve Lyons. I'm Keith Olbermann. Let's talk about that one incident right away. If you saw the interview that we will reprise some of right after the game. Roger Clemens was contrite and concerned about his own image and what happened when he threw that bat away. Let's get everybody's perspective on it. Steve, why don't you go first?
Well, I think that Roger really reacted to the play. I really believe that when the ball, when the bat was flying at him, you saw it come in 2 different pieces. He fielded the bat. He thought it was the ball. And then when he realized he didn't have the ball, I think he was just throwing the bat away. He didn't realize that where he was throwing it, Piazza got in the way. No way in my mind. I've played with Roger. I know Kevin's managed him. He didn't throw the bat at Piazza on purpose. Look at the 2 shattered pieces of the bat came out. He fields one of them. He thinks it's the ball. And then he just is upset, and he just fires it away. That's what I think, Kevin.
And he fired it away low. I mean, he was not trying to hit Mike Piazza. You're right, Steve. I manage this guy, and I'm not saying this because I manage Roger Clemens. I know this guy well for 2 years. Roger Clemens is a very sensitive guy in a lot of ways. He's got 4 young boys. He's a family-oriented guy. This guy cares about what's being said about him around the city. I know that for a fact. I know this guy well. And I don't believe for 1 second back in July that he tried to hit Mike Piazza in the head. He might have tried to go inside. No secret about that. I don't believe he's ever tried to hit anybody in the head. And today, I think he just reacted too, Steve, just like you just said.
You know, we saw a similar situation with Jay Payton in the National League Championship Series. He knew no one was trying to hit him in the head, but he jumped up and reacted. This is the emotion. I talked to Pratt after that play, and he said, you know what, sometimes the competition of the World Series brings out the best and the worst in you at the same time.
Right. And I should explain, this is not some shin bone from a prehistoric creature. This is the non-business end of the Mike Piazza bat in question, and the 31 is visible at the bottom. Now, I spoke to Commissioner Bud Selig during the game and asked him if either he or Vice President Frank Robinson of Major League Baseball had asked the umpire, specifically Charlie Relaford, the umpire closest to the scene, whether or not some untoward incident had occurred. And to Selig's and Robinson's satisfaction, no in-game assessment needed to be done. They were going to look at tape later on, but they didn't think anything got out of hand, and the fact that it demilitarized so quickly suggested that, at least on the field, things were under control fairly quickly, which is what Roger Clemens also suggested when I talked to him immediately after the Yankee win.
I had to calm down in the first inning. I think everything leading up in the entire week that I had to listen to, I came off the field after the first inning, and I told a couple of the guys upstairs and just basically went off to a room by myself, said I've got to get control of my emotions and calm down. But I was, again, I had 3 pitches working. I think in the first inning, the guys upstairs said my split finger was over 90 again, and that might be a little bit too hard.
Tell me about the first inning so we know exactly what happened with the broken bat and Mike Piazza.
I just threw the broken bat in the head once it got to me this way, and I told Charlie, the umpire, that I didn't know Mike was coming out. I didn't think he was running because of foul ball, and I was going to sling it to our on-deck circle towards the bat boy. And I guess it came close to him, and that's what happened. But, again, that was my emotions, and I was so fired up, I had to just calm down.
So Roger Clemens, who has been dominant in his last 2 starts, each on 6 days rest. Dominant really doesn't begin to describe it. Reminiscent of what he was like against the Braves in the decisive game of the 1999 World Series, when the Braves might as well have gone home at the point of the conclusion of the anthem. Is it a question? I mean, Roger would not admit it, and I don't think there are many pitchers who will ever admit that, boy, oh boy, it may be time to consider going on a 6-day rest rotation for the rest of his career. But Ted Lyons, no relation, who was a Hall of Famer with the White Sox, pitched once a week in the last 4 years of his career and pitched until he was 46 as a result. Is that Roger Clemens? Is that why he was so dominant?
He may have to once in a while, Keith. Roger Clemens is a power pitcher, and for a power pitcher, you have to use your legs. He had outstanding mechanics last Saturday against the Seattle Mariners when he struck out 15 again today. Good balance in the turn. When you have good balance, you're able to locate the ball wherever you want. His fastball hit 99 at times, was anywhere from 96 to 97 most of the time. He set the tone early with a power fastball, outstanding split. Timo Perez, he gets guys right and left with that fastball and split. Not too many sliders today. He knew he had a good fastball, the split against the lefties, but 9 Ks in all. And I'll tell you what, in the 8th inning, his last inning, he was still throwing the ball 95, 96 miles an hour. That's the Roger Clemens that I know. Just when you think he's down and out, the guy comes up with a couple of Cy Young Awards in Toronto and comes over here, wins a World Championship, and they're on their way to another one right now. 2 big performances so far in the postseason.
The other protagonist in the first inning incident, who then contributed a 2-run homer to the Mets' dramatic but ultimately unsuccessful 5-run ninth, was Mike Piazza. He is at the news conference in the bowels of Yankee Stadium as we speak, and let's go to that now live.
And what can you do? I was after that, just concentrate on trying to finish the game.
Chuck?
Mike, do you think that was an attempt at all to intimidate you, or did that cross your mind?
As I said, I don't think it was attempt. I just was confused. I mean, number one, I was a little disoriented because obviously my bat shattered, and I had really no idea where the ball was. As a matter of fact, even when everybody came out, I talked to the umpire, one of the umpires, and I said, where the hell did the ball go? I mean, I really had no clue. So when I started slowly jogging down the line, because, again, I really was I had no idea where the ball was. And then, again, when he threw the bat, I basically, after that, just walked out to see what his problem was. And I started asking him, and he really had no response. So I was, like taken back. It was bizarre. It was a bizarre incident. I asked him what his problem was, basically. I mean, I didn't know what was the problem. I don't know what. I had no clue what. Again, I was trying to figure out if it was intentional or not, and I was going to ask him, and if it was, then obviously, I mean, he really had no response. So I was kind of, and by the time I kept asking him, obviously there was intervention by everybody else.
Mike, reading his lips, it seemed like he was saying, "I thought it was the ball." Did you hear him say that?
No, I didn't. I really didn't. I mean, I don't know.
Mike, does that cause you to lose more respect for Roger? You said you lost.
I think it's irrelevant. It's just so bizarre. I mean, I hate that this to be an incident. Remember, for the game, that was such an interesting ball game, and thank you. That was obviously, on our part, our team to come back like that against 2 quality relievers. I mean, that to me is, like I said, after it occurred, the umpire came out and he told me what he said. So, I mean, what can you do? He, I mean, it was over as far as I'm concerned, and went on with the game.
Albert?
But Mike, when you were surprised by the incident and you went to say something to him, did he say to you, "Oh, I didn't mean to throw it at you," or anything to that extent?
No, I mean, I was, like I said, I was just waiting for a response. I didn't know if he was going to say, I had no idea. He didn't say anything, so, what can I do? I was just kept asking him, trying to get him to, I really didn't understand. I was trying to get him, if he was going to say it was an accident or whatever. He didn't say anything. You know, so by the time, like I said, I didn't get a response, there was more people out there. So what are you going to do?
Mike, did you see him catch the bat? Because it just kind of skipped off the ground and up into him. Did you see that?
No, that's the thing. I mean, my head went down, and you know, it obviously the bat was completely sawed off. And then I, believe it or not, I really had absolutely no clue where the ball was. It was, I could count on my hand the number of times that has occurred. I mean, it happened before. I mean, I have very thin-handled bats, and they have a tendency to break in that fashion. So I saw the barrel, you know, but like I said, after I saw the bat break, I was trying to pick up the ball. So I kind of, you know, took my head off him, and, you know, and I was trying to find the ball. I didn't know if it was a ground ball to shortstop or a pop-up or what. That's the thing that really, for me, was confused me and disoriented me more than anything. And then, like I said, when the bat came flying at me, I was just like, then I went out, you know, and said, what is your problem? I kept asking, what is your problem? So he didn't say anything. If he would have said something, maybe it would have been a little different. I don't know.
How close did the bat come to you?
And the next question was, how many angels can dance on the head of this bat? So we got out of that news conference already in progress, and I'm sure you hear it continuing in the background here over the PA system. But let's talk about something that really got buried here, which was that 5-run ninth inning after the Mets had looked lethargic and had late on every pitch. Of course, totally dominated by Clemens. A different story with Jeff Nelson and even Mariano Rivera. 2 big home runs in the ninth inning. And I suppose if there's anything to be taken positively out of this and on the way to Shea Stadium for Bobby Valentine and his team, it's that ninth inning. These guys are not invincible. We came maybe within a break earlier of tying that game in the ninth, Kevin.
Yeah. I think so, Keith. What happens in a game like that, you basically know the game's over. I think Torrey did the right thing, getting Roger out of there so he wouldn't really have to face Piazza the ninth. Roger only threw 112 pitches. He could have gone back out for the ninth inning and probably would have shut him out. But you know what? He brings the bullpen in. Nelson just throwing fastballs right there, not the slider, because it's not a situation where he has to throw the slider. Just trying to throw strikes. He gets one on the inside corner to Piazza. Mike gets his hands inside the ball, takes him deep. This is what happened to Nelson before in the postseason. When he doesn't throw his breaking ball to righties, he gets hit. So consequently, you got to bring Mariano Rivera in there. And, of course, a big play, Steve, by Clay Bellinger right there.
Yeah, and I don't think that ball goes out of the park if he doesn't catch it. It hits the top of the wall again. And my suggestion to Todd Zeal would be have another steak for lunch. I mean, come on. And then we come up right here with Peyton going the other way. This is what we talked about before this series started, that the bullpen of the Mets is stronger than the bullpen of the Yankees right now. Nelson's proved that he's really struggled in the postseason and up to the postseason. Rivera was the dominator, as he always has been, and he will continue to be that way. But at the same time, he has struggled, as he showed right there, having to come in to 2 games in a row there. And I think that the Mets can get to that bullpen if they can get into it. That's the problem. Great starting pitching by the Yankees so far.
As we will finish 1 hour of the National Sports Report, let us begin another one from Yankee Stadium in New York alongside Kevin Kennedy and Steve Lyons. It's post-game coverage of Game 2 of the 2000 World Series, won in hair-breadth fashion by the New York Yankees, 6-5. They had led this game behind a dominant performance by Roger Clemens, 6-0 going into the top of the ninth. Clemens had thrown 2 hit ball over 8 innings and struck out 9. And then Yankee relievers, who were absolutely flawless on Saturday night in the person of Jeff Nelson and Mariano Rivera, gave up respectively a 2-run homer off the foul pole by Mike Piazza and then a 3-run blast by Jay Payton. And then the Mets closed within 6-5, 2 out, nobody on, and Kurt Abbott, their only remaining shortstop, I guess, batted, and the game ended. And the Mets now trail in this series to the Yankees 2-0 in what has been absolutely as advertised in terms of drama, if not all at once. We got our 2 one-run games here at Yankee Stadium. Scott Brocious earlier had contributed a huge home run for the Yankees, and afterwards our Ron Darling spoke with him.
I'm here with Scott Brocious. You guys had some incredible at-bats against Mike Hampton today. Loves to pitch around the strike zone. You showed that great Yankee patience.
Yeah, that's something I think that we talked about and we really needed tonight. He lives on the edges, and the key to somebody like him is really to try to bring him into the zone and hopefully get a pitch and take advantage when you get it.
Now, the home run, of course, you did take advantage of it, but you also had a great at-bat hitting that 3-0 pitch against Rick White and scoring a run on a sacrifice fly.
Yeah, I'll tell you, in these games, every run is golden, and now that's the one thing that we were able to do is when we got the lead tonight, we added on, and because we added on, we were able to survive that ninth.
Well, it's a little scary now, but you guys are up 2-0. You got to like where you are right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly this is what we want to do, to win 2 games here, but we know there's such a long ways to go that Game 3 is a real big game, and we'll come out ready to play.
Thanks, Scott. Good luck at Shea.
All right, thanks, Ron. Okay.
Ron Darling with Scott Brocious, who hit a home run earlier or later, drove in a run and made some spectacular defensive plays, one in particular that kept the Roger Clemens dominance of the New York Mets tonight in play. And Steve, it was that kind of dominance. As we talked with him afterwards, he doesn't have a real explanation for it. Certainly all the factors are together. The rest, the fact that it's really cold out and hitters get burned on their hands if they foul one off, and his ability to rise to the circumstances.
Yeah, and he's the one guy on the field that's not really all that cold. Once he gets loosened up and ready to pitch, this is a pretty good weather for him to pitch in. Little bit cold, but not too much for Roger Clemens. He's the guy who's the most active out there. He just has dominant stuff when it gets right to it in the big games. Doesn't have a great record in the postseason, but his ERA isn't all that bad. But he was dominating with the high fastball and then the splitter down in the dirt. Doesn't throw many sliders anymore because that was the pitch that was getting hammered. Look at that ball tailing away, a high fastball, splitter down and away to the lefties. Can't hit those 2 pitches. And when you got the good kind of stuff on his fastball, 96, 98 miles an hour, you can forget about hitting that when it's up in the zone as well. Clemens just blowing guys away.
Yeah, and these are 2 big games for Roger. Going back to the game against Seattle where he went 9 innings and shut them down, 15 strikeouts, and you got 17 innings of ball right there for Roger Clemens, 24 strikeouts. He's only given up 3 hits. He's only walked a couple of men. You're talking about dominance. This is Pedro Martinez dominance shown by a 37-year-old man in Roger Clemens. And just when you think he's down and out, the guy comes up big. I think it's a combination of good mechanics. I think his legs are healthy finally. I don't think he's ever been 100% in my own mind in the 2 years that he's been here in New York. I think he is now, and I think he's just got real solid mechanics in his turn that enables him to really drive the ball down where he wants it, and the velocity's back up again to 97, 98 miles an hour. He even hit 99 tonight. It was unbelievable.
And we should just mention in brief that Roger Clemens was at least calm and concerned afterwards on the incident involving Mike Piazza, the broken bat, and the shard of which from this bat that he threw away in Mike Piazza's general direction, and apparently that's all it was.
Although, and it was also, you never did hear an apology there either.
We're not going to.
No.
What? Joe Torre, the manager of the Yankees, who has now led his team to 14 consecutive World Series victories since the 1 loss or the 2 losses against Atlanta in 1996, is at the podium here beneath the bowels of Yankee Stadium, or in the bowels of Yankee Stadium. Here's Joe. We'll join it live.
I mean, Mike running, and he just threw the bat in our direction, which I'm not saying he should have done, but I think a lot of it was emotional.
Joe, can you tell us what happened on the Knobloch base running thing? I don't have my scorebook with me, but when he
got thrown out the plate?
When he was thrown out the plate, was Willie holding him?
I think Willie was bringing him because they were fumbling the ball in right center, and when he did stop him, which you always bring him until right at the last minute, I think Nobby was probably looking down and didn't see him stop him.
So in other words. He sort of ran through a stop sign.
He did, but again, when Willie had him coming for the longest time, I think he was bent on, he didn't see it, basically. So he did run through a stop sign, but not knowingly.
Would that be construed then as a error in judgment on Knobloch's part, or?
Well, sure. You should always watch your third base coach till you pass him. Yeah.
Joe, you can talk about Paul O'Neill.
That you or me?
You can talk about Paul O'Neill, the range of struggling in September and not playing well early in the playoffs, pinch hitting for him, and now the last 4 games has really played well.
Well, Paul O'Neill, to me, is piecing it together. I mean, he's doing whatever he needs to do on a day-to-day basis, because he doesn't, even though, he doesn't have the hip pointer problem, there's still some effects from that, because you watch him in the dugout and he's stretching a lot. And so he's right now mixing and matching, and he's doing a good job. It's not always pretty, but it's pretty effective. He's a tough kid.
Yeah. Okay. Steve.
If you were in the other uniform and the pitcher threw the bat, a broken bat at your player, what would your reaction have been?
I've been angry, no question. But I think we have to ask one other question. Why would he throw it at him? That to me is the simple question. Let's not take the fact that what happened, but let's try to analyze it, and why would he throw him at? So he'd get thrown out of the game in the second game of the World Series? Does that make any sense to anybody? Or is that too shitty a story to write? Huh? Let me answer. Somebody answer me. You guys ask me questions. Somebody answer my question. Why would he do it? Because he's angry with him?
Yes.
That's reason? Because he's angry? So he's angry with him, so he screws 24 other people on his team?
People don't get thrown out of World Series games.
He got thrown out of a World Series game in Oakland one day. But why would he do it? He's angry at Mike Piazza because he hit Mike Piazza in the head. Now, give me an answer to that one, too. Now, wouldn't Mike Piazza be mad at him instead? Now, why would he hit him in the head? Now, figured throw a bat and hit him in the knee. I mean, we completely disable this kid. Still haven't given me an answer.
I have no answer.
Yeah, that's right. You don't have an answer because there is no answer. It doesn't make sense. Now, should he have done it? No.
Joe.
But I think it was very emotional.
Just a minute, Ira. Claire's next.
Joe, I was just going to ask you about being up 2-0, having El Duque going in Game 3.
Sorry, Claire. 2-0 wasn't as comfortable as it was, an hour ago. The Mets showed you why they won. I mean, they just won't roll over and die. They're tough, but, I'm glad the final result was 2-0. You feel when you're playing at home that you're supposed to win games. We almost squandered it, and I'm glad we didn't, but it sure puts us in a good position, but not a guaranteed position.
Joe, you asked the question about why he would throw the bat. And is it possible that Clemens, one of his pieces of in his arsenal is that he's an intimidating pitcher and tries to intimidate the batter? Okay, now, could it possibly be that this is part of an intimidation?
I mean,
is it plausible?
No, it's not. Not throwing a bat. I mean, that's something you don't work on when you throw between starts.
No, that's true. But he's working on instinct. He's working on instinct.
Instinct? Pick up a bat and throw it at somebody?
Yes.
Jesus Christmas. See ya.
Wait a second. Is Crosby just lost?
Good.
What?
An extraordinary moment as Joe Torre leaves a news conference after his team has gone up 2-0.
So everybody can hear him.
Here it is again.
With all respect, I don't know if I like the idea of you saying that this is some kind of a media creation. That's the feeling I'm getting sitting here. And all I'm trying to ask as an individual, not as someone, we didn't have like a meeting beforehand.
I apologize for that.
So I'm asking if he just blew his cool. So you're attributing logic to this case. Logic has nothing to do with it. Is it possible the guy just lost his cool? And that's the simple explanation.
But let me ask you a question. What made him lose his cool?
I'm not a psychologist.
But try to do it. I'm not either. But let's try to do this. Let's really investigate.
I was at the Oakland game in 1990. I have no explanation for that either.
Right. It's emotional. It's emotional. I mean, it's the most important game of everybody's life, and it's emotional.
Somehow this is going to turn into a thing where you're saying it's a media creation.
Oh, no, I didn't say that. All I'm saying is let's try to rationalize it.
You said that about the Piazza.
You're damn right.
Throwing the replay over.
That's right.
And what happened tonight is evidence that it was perfectly germane to the issue that they kept showing the replay over and over.
Well, did you think that a lot of people got very emotional from seeing the replay over and over? Would that be? Is that rational? Or is that irrational? You're not a psychologist.
It was an element to the story that they kept showing.
Okay, Dave. Next question, Dave.
Joe, I'm not a psychologist either.
Thank you.
It looked to me like the bat skipped off the ground. He caught it. The end of it could have done what it did to Steve Yeager.
Yeah, well.
And he could have just been acting in fear, get it away from me.
Well, I think it was emotional. I do think when he picked it up and he threw it, because he's pumped up to pitch the game. Did he know Mike Piazza was in the neighborhood? I don't think so. Until after he probably let it go and looked up. Because, when you see the ball foul, the hitter, and if Mike had seen it, he probably wouldn't have run. And it wouldn't have come close to him. But as it turned out, it scared the hell out of me, too.
Okay, last question, George. Okay, Mike.
Joe.
Clearly, Joe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Clearly, you are angry at the. You are angry. You are clearly angry because you feel that by showing this replay over and over again, it sounds to me like you feel that somehow we all contributed to the emotion that's built into this game and into this moment. Is that because I just want to know what it is about this whole thing that has upset you?
Because nobody's adding common sense to this thing. I know how close you feel and your reaction to Mike Piazza getting hit in the head. Now, we want to go back to that one before the bat incident, okay? You're throwing up and in to somebody. And Mike Piazza was surprised that the ball hit him in the head, and we were too. He's trying to move him off the plate. Now, that's the way he pitches. That's the way Bob Gibson pitched. That's the way Early Wynn pitched. First week I come up in the big leagues, I got knocked down 6 times just to see how the kid would handle it. Now, there have been a number of other people that have been hit here the last 2 days, but there have been no accusations. Because you need to pitch inside. Now, nobody wanted to hit anybody in the head. And I'm not going to say least of all Mike Piazza. I mean, nobody. Okay? And the only thing I say, and I had said earlier when we talked about showing the replay, I said, I'm sure the two teams are going to act professionally. And I'm sure there's emotion on the Mets side because their player got hit. And you're damn right. That would anger me, too. But it's not going to interfere with what goes on in the ball game. My concern was what we're doing to the fans and what may come out of that. I'm not saying you caused what happened tonight. I'm saying that the danger of these New York fans who are very emotional to begin with, to give them a reason to do something that we don't want to talk about.
Okay, I got to get Roger up here, Mike.
Excuse me, he threw the bat. It was an emotional, and I haven't talked to Roger about it. I'm seeing him, and I'll tell you what I think. I did something I was very ashamed of one day as a manager of the Mets. There was a collision at home plate. I went out and took a bat, and I slammed it and broke the damn thing in half. I'm the manager of the Mets. Next day, I called Bill Robinson I apologized for breaking his bat. I just got emotional. I stopped John Stearns tonight. He wanted to choke everybody, and which is fine. And I said to John, John, you played the game with a lot of emotion. Understand that. And that's what this is all about. I mean, all you people are here because this is the World Series. And if you think that you go out there and you're robots and you throw the ball and you catch the ball and you know, that's what we do, you have to be emotional and you have to be passionate about this. Am I saying that he should have picked up the bat and thrown it? No. But I think it was an emotional thing. And I think Roger will tell you that he was very surprised when he looked up that Piazza was where he was. And Mike, as I say, I don't think he saw the ball. Just the way he ran, not knowing where the ball was, so that's what you do. You run in case it's fair. If he knows it's foul where the ball went, he doesn't move at all from home plate. Now, if he doesn't move from home plate and he threw the bat where he did, now, if he threw the bat at home plate, then I'd say, yeah, he's throwing at him.
Okay, let's get Roger up here. Thank you.
Joe Torre, the manager of the Yankees, who in last year in the American League Championship Series saw the effect of an unruly crowd in Boston, and now Roger Clemens is sitting down for a news conference to explain what happened and his performance.
Talking to the mic,
Yeah, but
please.
when I heard somebody back there ask Skip, I'll revisit it again. I wish I didn't have to, but the pitch a while back in interleague to Mike again. I don't know if anybody heard me last time, but I went directly upstairs and made a phone call. I've got 4 or 5 people that saw my emotions and how I felt about hitting Mike, and I went up to make a phone call, and we made the phone call to Mike. So I wish if you didn't hear that, I just said it again so you could. So and I expressed how I felt about that. And I see that the skipper's upset about some things. I was extremely emotional that first inning. I think probably having the fact that all the guys all day long came up and was, trying to, thought that everything had gotten me down from all week, probably had affected me, and just wanted to try and keep my confidence up. But I was like I told the guys out. I did a couple interviews out in front of the dugout after the first inning. I knew I came in and sat in a room by myself, and I knew I had to get control of my emotions extremely quick to be able to continue to perform and finish that game. Before I had let go of the bat, I had no idea that Mike had ran, and I told Charlie, the umpire, that. So there was no intent. Again, fired up and emotional, and grabbed the bat to sling it towards our on-deck circle where our bat boys were at, and had no idea that Mike was running on the foul ball. So there was no intent there, and that really wasn't the substance of the game. I mean, as you can see late in the game, I'm glad we got the runs we did. The guys put a great push on there late, and those guys were battling me. There were 2 or 3 guys in that lineup that I had to be careful with when the game was still 3-0 at the time, and so.
Okay.
So, Roger, there's no intent, but when Mike stopped to ask you what happened, I mean, why didn't you say right then and there, hey, I didn't mean that. I didn't mean to throw that at you.
Nobody stopped or anything. I went right to the umpire. I think at one point, with my emotions running high, I was asking the umpire for a ball. And but there was no intent. I'm not going to talk about it. There was no intent there. My emotions, like I said, I was running extremely high. I went in and really, really had to calm down. I mean, I was just extremely fired up, and just had to calm down and stay focused. And I think that was the hardest thing to do, leading up that inning, because it was such, I wanted to. I mean, it's bad enough when you're out there and you want to pitch him in, but you can't afford to miss up and in. So now I'm almost going away from what I feel my strength is to Mike, and to try and open up the outside part of the plate. But you're just trying to be. I mean, I know we're going to pitch him in, and now you're trying not to miss up and in, or I think I missed up and in against Alfonso late in the game when I was getting tight. That's another reason why I ended up coming out of the game. My back was getting tight, and the coolness in the air. But like I said, I had to get really control of my emotions after that inning.
Tom?
Roger, some of the Mets said that right in front of you, that they thought it did look like that there was intent.
Not at all.
Right, but because
Not
they thought that, are you glad that you are not pitching at Shea so that you don't have to
Not going to
bat?
answer it. Not going to answer it. If Skip, again, there was no intent.
So, but you wouldn't mind batting against him?
There's no
there would
intent.
be no fear there?
There's no intent.
But would there be any fear of batting against
There's
him?
no intent.
Roger, the amateur lip readers among us over here, it looked like you said, I thought it was the ball, as Mike was.
I might have said that. Some of my guys said that too.
What did you mean by that?
I was just, my emotions, I'm telling you, my feet were off the ground. I'm trying to be, let you all know. And I went right to either Charlie or to the umpires. It was great that they, just said, hey, just relax a little bit. And then I said, just give me another ball and let me get back up on the mound here.
Mike?
Could you explain or clarify a little bit or elucidate maybe on the source of those emotions and why you were so sky high? Is it because
I don't think it's real hard to figure it out.
Is it because of what you've been reading and hearing?
I haven't been reading it, but obviously I've been hearing it, and I think that where everybody in the clubhouse leading up to today was continually trying to keep me pumped up. They thought I might have been a little bit down, and I was trying not to let it get me down. So. I'll be honest with you, if I didn't have the stuff I did tonight, it'd have been hard work. I mean, I was fortunate that I had similar stuff that I had in Seattle. And I have seen many times late on TV how, these guys have made rallies late and came back in games. So, once they got the 2 runs and got some momentum, it wasn't comfortable.
Roger, Piazza said that he had said to you after the bat had gone his direction, he had said to you a couple of times, what's your problem? Do you have a problem? And you didn't answer. You didn't answer at all. Was there a reason why you didn't answer at all?
Because I didn't hear him. I'll be honest with you.
You didn't hear him?
I wasn't hearing much there. I'll be honest with you. I'll tell you, I was pretty emotional, and fault me for that. I didn't hear Mike. I heard the couple of the umps, and so stay right here. Let's go. Let's get back on the mound. And I remember telling the ump, give me a ball. But again, guys, I was pretty pumped up and emotional. So
Roger, we're going to take one more question on this subject, then we're going to talk about your pitching tonight. Dave?
Okay. I will ask one more question. Did you realize that the bat had hit the ground and come up to you? Did it frighten you at all, or?
It was just a reaction. All of a sudden, and that's why I think I said something about the ball. I thought it might have been the ball at that time. I mean, I was so locked in and trying to be focused. When it came, I thought it was coming towards my shins. And to be honest with you, I didn't know it was the bat or the ball. And I think that's probably why I said what I said.
Okay, does anybody, I'm sorry.
So.
Does anybody have a question about Roger's pitching or the game tonight? Where? In the back. Okay, we need the mic back there. The other mic, please.
And the violence of the moment was such that this is what remained in Mike Piazza's hand. A bat that came completely apart in at least 3 pieces, one of which did bounce up almost as Roger Clemens might field a ground ball. You saw with your own eyes in the replay what he said. I thought it was a ball. He may have asked later for a ball, and he may not have, in the din at Yankee Stadium tonight, heard Mike Piazza ask him what the problem was. In any event, baseball itself did not think this was much of an issue. Things calmed down. We'll continue to explore this, and more dramatically, the Mets' explosion in the 9th inning when they scored 5 runs. When the National Sports Report continues from Yankee Stadium, for Kevin Kennedy, Steve Lyons, I'm Keith Olbermann. Joe Buck and Tim McCarver will join us when we come back.
Long easy 316 Delta Bravo, flight at 25 North Carolina.
They get hired by companies like AT&T, GE, and Ford. They get training in over 200 real-world jobs. And they get it in the Army. That's right, the Army.
Let's go! TiVo lets you create your own TV network so you can watch what you want when you want to. Huh. Educational programming for your kids.
That's a curveball. Laces out on a field goal. 7-10 split. Slammer, jammer. Icing. The law. Jenny, triple axel. Bobby, stop doing that, Jenny. Bobby, please! Bobby!
There is no danger, however, as the satellite's now expected to smash into Quasi, an uninhabited part of the Australian outback. Scientists say the 12...
Do you, Yahoo?
Man, I'm hungry.
What, $1 for a sliver of raw fish?
It's sushi.
Sushi? Where I'm from, we call that stuff bait.
What else can you get for just $1?
Well, I can get a 20-minute phone call for only 99 cents.
We're kidding around.
No, it's true. Dial 10-10-220. It's just 99 cents for all calls up to 20 minutes.
And just 7 cents a minute after that.
And get this, there's no monthly fee.
10-10-220 really is a great deal.
We know. Hey, you forgot to cook this.
Dial 10-10-220.
There we go. And we continue from Yankee Stadium in New York. New York Yankees 6, New York Mets 5. It didn't seem like such a big thing at the time after the field cleared. There's briefly the Yankees and Mets tussled, but they resolved the issue of the splintered bat, and we will talk about that more. Kevin Kennedy, Steve Lyons, and myself in a moment. Joe Buck and Tim McCarver called that action as it occurred and reflected on it during several points in the broadcast of the game itself on Fox, and we got their thoughts right after the game. Here's Joe Buck.
All right, well, the final, again, 6-5, and back in the broadcast booth, Joe Buck and Tim McCarver with you. You never know how many runs you're going to need. The Mets made a little noise in the 9th inning. I saw you squirm when I was saying the Mets trying to get something going before Game 3. I know you're not a big fan of momentum carrying from one game to another, but at least they got off the deck and did something.
Oh, I think definitely tonight. I mean, if they get shut out by Roger Clemens and Jeff Nelson and others in the bullpen, I don't think they have any momentum whatsoever going into Game 3. However, scoring 5 runs in the bottom of the ninth, not only against Nelson, but a key 3-run home run against Jay Payton. I think going back into that Shea Stadium, the way it's rocking and rolling right now, I think is going to be a very, very important 5 runs.
The story will be about Roger Clemens. 8 terrific innings on the mound. No runs, 2 hits allowed. He struck out 9, he walked none. But that incident in the first inning was frightening when it happened.
It marred the whole game, and there's something incomplete about this picture. We said during the game that we thought Roger Clemens should apologize and be very forthright about it after the game. I still feel that way. And even though he did talk to Keith Olbermann, he didn't apologize. And there's something wrong with that. The picture is incomplete as we speak right now.
The Yankees up 2-0. That'll do it from the booth. Tune us in on Tuesday night, Game 3 at Shea Stadium.
And, Joe, the Mets hope that the picture is incomplete, to use Tim's phrase about this series, and that it's not over or nearly such, and that we will return to Yankee Stadium next Saturday night for a 6th game. But let's get back both to the news conference, and if you heard the profanity from Joe Torre, we apologize, and we know Joe well enough to know that he would apologize to you personally if you were offended. But let's talk about this prospect again, about how if a pitcher sees a bat splinter into 3 different pieces, and the ball is hit, even though it's not hit at him, but one of the pieces of the bat comes up, and as again, this relic suggests, this is the largest piece left. That is a moment of absolute chaos and against all the training that a pitcher would have, Steve.
Yeah, actually, 3 points on this. Number 1, I just love Joe Torre's reaction there. The way he protects his players is unbelievable. Went to bat for Roger Clemens in that press conference. Number 2, I find it really ridiculous that the press has such a hard time believing that Roger thought that piece of the bat was a ball. Now, I've been in situations, I've been around the game 30 years. Roger reacted to what he thought was the ball, and he caught it, and then when he realized that it wasn't the ball, he fired it away. And the third thing is that I think he should apologize. I think that's the one. I do agree with Tim McCarver. Look at the pieces of the bat coming at Roger. He goes and fields a bat. Nobody does that unless he thought it was the ball, and then he was throwing it away. Look at it. It says right here, I thought it was the ball. Clearly did. Yeah. And that third thing, Roger would do himself very well to say, I'm not apologizing for what happened. I'm apologizing for the result of it. I did not mean to do that. I'm sorry that the bat went towards Mike Piazza. I wasn't throwing it at him. He'd do himself a great service if he came out and said that.
Yeah, Steve, the other thing is you're not going to field a bat. You're going to field a ball. If you know it's a bat coming at you, you get out of the way with the flying bat. Many years ago, Steve Yeager got a bat stuck in his neck, and thus came the catcher guard right here many years later. That's the thing that hit me right there. And the second thing that hit me was Roger immediately, when Piazza said, hey, what's the matter? What's the problem? You saw him mouth right away, and he didn't have time to think about that. That wasn't premeditated. He said, I thought it was the ball. And let me tell you something else. When you throw a fastball 97 miles an hour to a hitter, it comes back over 100 miles an hour. We've seen a lot of pitchers this year get hit. The Boston pitcher, Bryce Flory, he got hit. And you know what? And so pitchers are, if they see something come at them, they're going to try to protect themselves or catch it. And that's what Roger did. I really believe that.
And on top of everything else, and reflecting on this, if Roger Clemens had thrown a bat, even though he is not a javelin thrower, he probably would not have had it bounce off the ground. He probably would have done a better job of it than he did if that were deliberately aimed at someone. Well, this controversy will not die down immediately, and perhaps it is obscured by that Met rally in the 9th inning and what became the 2nd consecutive 1-run game in this World Series. Afterwards, Todd Zeal met up with reporters in the Met locker room.
And Mike Piazza.
I don't think anybody would think that he was actually picking up a bat and throwing at Mike Piazza. I mean, that would be absolutely ridiculous that they'd given the lead into this particular game and all the stuff surrounding it. I mean, for him to pick up a bat and throw it at Mike would be as asinine as trying to hit him in the head again. I mean, I don't think that was the case. I think the bat came out near home plate, near the pitcher's mound. Roger picked it up and flung it towards the dugout, something they probably should not have done, and probably in retrospect wishes he hadn't done. But I don't think there was any intention of, in his part whatsoever, to try and hit Mike with it. That's ridiculous.
All right, let's put that away then for the time being, at least, although I suspect it may reappear in the Monday New York papers. Kevin Kennedy, let's talk about what we else saw in this game, and specifically the point that you were making in our discussions here, that Mike Hampton was brilliantly successful against the left-handers of the St. Louis Cardinals and was anything but brilliantly successful here in Game 2 against the left-handers of the New York Yankees.
Well, the 2 key lefties for the the Mets, Keith, obviously Leiter and Hampton, they beat the Cardinals handily because the Cardinals don't hit left-handed pitching, especially without Mark McGwire. The Yankees, they're number 2 in the American League versus lefty pitching. They hit over 290, and we've seen that so far in this series. Against those two starters, Leiter last night, the lefties went 3 for 9. Tonight, 4 for 8. Paul O'Neill got hot. Tino went the other way. It's because the Yankees play little ball. They don't try to go big for the long ball. They play a lot of situational type hitting. They move runners. They stay on the cutter. They go the other way. If the ball's down the way, that's where they're going to hit it, and that's what they did tonight. So I don't think the lefties are a factor at all against the New York Yankees.
Steve, where are we in this series? It's 2-0. It was a 6-0 shutout into the 9th inning. The Mets suddenly scored 5 runs, and we had 2 one-run games of completely different natures after the Mets gave away a game in Game 1. What's Game 3 like, and how many more do we have to play?
Well, the Mets have to really turn things around. I'm not a guy that really believes in momentum from game to game in baseball either, but it gives them a lot more confidence. The Mets came out for this game. I don't think anybody really gave them a chance to win this game, given the way they lost the night before, because they're just so down. But at least knowing that they scored some runs in the 9th inning will give them some confidence for Game 3. But right now, you're looking at a Yankee team that is not making any mistakes and capitalizing on the mistakes that the Mets make.
Yeah, and it's going to be big for Rick Reed. Now, Rick Reed's a control pitcher. He can do it. He's done it before. But it will be his first World Series appearance. And momentum goes as far as your starting pitcher goes. That's where the momentum starts. Tonight, Roger Clemens got the momentum, not because of the Piazza incident, because he was throwing the ball 97, 98 miles an hour and on fire with the split. That's where the momentum started. Consequently, the lineup, the offense got going. So for the Mets, they've got to get good starting pitching, put some zeros up there to try to get the momentum their way.
I will leave here worried less about Mike Piazza and the bat and all that, and more about Kurt Abbott coming up in the 9th inning with a 6-5 game and some momentum going the Mets' way. And maybe there was somebody else, or maybe the numbers were terrific of Kurt Abbott facing Mariano Rivera. Who knows what they were. But we'll discuss that and other things as our continuing programming from Yankee Stadium. For Kevin Kennedy, for Steve Lyons, I'm Keith Olbermann. Mets in 3,000. That got a big laugh in the Yankee dugout, we can tell you that. Yanks 6, Mets 5. Let's go back to the Fox Network Center in Los Angeles.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. We look forward to your reports on the day off as the series now shifts 8 miles from the Bronx over to Shea. And let's actually talk a little bit of baseball. I mean, where do the Mets go from here? They're down 2-0. They're facing El Duque, who's never lost in the postseason. I mean, he's 8-0, so help the Mets. Tell Bobby Valentine what's going on.
Chris, basically, I think they just stay the course right now. They could have easily won that game, the first game, and then tonight they went up there and put up 5 runs. It was a big shot in the arm for the Mets. But, hey, this team still, the New York Yankees, is not out of the woods yet. You can see with 2-0 leads in the past in 21 against the New York Giants and 55 against the Brooklyn Dodgers. And, that's right, 1981, folks. Go ahead, look at it. That's when the L.A. Dodgers came up and beat them. So there's no way that they are out of the woods yet by any stretch of the imagination. Also, I think what they can take into Game 2 is they got into that bullpen and they did some damage to it. First with Nelson, and then they went up there and bopped on Mariano Rivera a little bit. So this team knows that they can go in there and hurt that tremendous bullpen, if you will, that the Yankees have. So they got some confidence builders to take into that next game.
But to get to the pen, you have got to get past El Duque.
That's right. As you know, he hasn't lost anything in postseason. Extremely tough. He's really the go-to guy, I think, besides Roger on this team. That bullpen, again, they get in that pen and mangle it up a little bit. It's a good help for him.
All right,
46 teams have previously taken a 2-0 lead. 35 have gone on to win the World Series. So the number's not exactly in the Mets' favors. Meanwhile, what about the day in the NFL? We're going to take care of all your NFL needs, highlights, and scores in just a moment. We'll be back in a second. You're watching the National Sports Report.
You've been watching a special World Series presentation of the National Sports Report.